Hi everybody, this is Dario. Welcome back to my channel Monthly Reads. Today I'm going to do a book tag. The book tag is a Canterbury Tales Book Tag, which I didn't notice been moving around BookTube. So I saw it just this was 2 days ago on my buddy Tom LA Books, his channel, and it was really a lot of fun to watch the tag, and I thought it would be a lot of fun to do the tag. It is very long one with lots of prompts, so it was pretty difficult to prepare. Actually, I had to think quite a lot. So since it's long, let's get on with it immediately. So first prompt is like this: the host is the character who relates the tales to the reader. He's large, loud, and merry. Recommend the Mammoth book, over 800 pages for March of the Mammoths. And here, I don't read a lot of fat books over 800 pages. I have a few, and one that I thought was especially fitted, especially the time that is now, is this one. World War II by Anthony Beevor. It is really a mammoth. It is in this edition, 880 pages, plus notes and sources and so on, and it outlines the Second World War in a lot of detail. Anthony Beevor is very skilled author that writes lots of popular history books, and this is his, I would say, his magnum opus. I learned quite a lot reading this book, because everything that we read about World War II and learned about in school, it was very Europe centric. Here I of course read a lot about details about battles in Europe and so on, but also I learned quite a lot about Asia, about the World War II in Asia, about all the horror that China and Southeast Asia had to go through, during Japanese occupation. So it was lots of great facts and unfortunately relevant read for these times that we are in now. World War II by Anthony Beevor. Okay, prompt number 2. Is the knight stands for fighting, war, and bravery. Recommend a book with a courageous main character. Here I will recommend a classic, Bosnian classic, The Fortress by Mesha Selimovic. The main protagonist of this book, Ahmed Shabo, is a man that lives in a totalitarian society, during the Turkish rule in Bosnia. A young guy in his 20s returning from the war and finds a society that is a rule of terror. He opens his mouth, gets badly beaten, and gets saved by, he's a Muslim, he gets saved by a Christian girl, and starts a relationship with her. So the whole thing, him being with the Christian girl, him being, with the open mind and saying what he thinks and what he believes, it's really leading the authorities and everybody around to have him as a target, but he prevails in being himself. And The Fortress is a classic. It's been a classic in Yugoslavia, written by Mesha Selimovic, who is one of the biggest names of former Yugoslavian literature. So this one is highly recommended. The Fortress. Okay, prompt number 3: the wife of Bath stands for marriage, sex, and arguing. Tell us about the book with a strong female character. A book with a strong female character is this one, The Well of Loneliness by Radcliffe Hall, and it is a classic of lesbian fiction, and this is from 1928, written by Radcliffe Hall, who is who is portraying a woman that is determined to live on her own terms, and live with whoever she chooses to love. And back in the 20s, you can imagine how hard this hit on in the press and on the author. So both the main protagonist and the author, Radcliffe Hall, strong female characters and very brave female characters. Right. Number 4, The Pardoner is all about ambiguity. Tell us about your favorite queer characters. Now, queer, I didn't understand really what is meant. It seems that people are interpreting in different ways. Some interpreted queer being LGBTQ, or queer being a bit quirky. I'm choosing the LGBTQ track and choosing this book. Giovanni is written by James Baldwin, and the main character David, who really opened my mind and my understanding to understand more the whole struggle with the feelings and in the context of a society that is a bit that is very tough on the people that are different, especially homosexuals. The prose written by that James Baldwin is writing is just fantastic. This book is very, very powerful. I really like the character. I really like the way the love affair between David and Giovanni is portrayed in this one. So this would be my choice for this prompt. Okay, number 5. The Miller is bold, blasphemous, and overturns conventions. Who is your favorite naughty character? And here, naughty character, this was difficult to choose for some reasons. Here I chose Patrick Melrose from Edward C. Nobin's Patrick Melrose novels, and especially in book number 2, where the main character, book number 2 is bad news, where the main character lives in his 20s and is really bad condition. You learn in the book number 1 the origin from where his dented personality is coming from. In this book number 2, he really lives through a very rough period. And just because you understand where it comes from, why is he like he is, you feel a lot of sympathy for him being such a destructive and unsympathetic character in the second book, because the first book gives you really foundations to like this guy. And this work of fiction by Edward C. Nobin is really strong. The whole 5 novels are apparently building on his own experience, his own life, and is stretching over a life of a character. Here it's been published during a long period of time. So I would suggest this Patrick Melrose novels. Okay. Number 6, The Prioress is modest, quiet, and compassionate. Recommend a book you don't hear much about on a BookTube. Here, generally, I don't hear very much about books by Zadie Smith. And Zadie Smith is one of my favorite authors. I like her writing very much. She's from the UK, from London, from Northwest London, and her books are set in London and in urban environment, in different themes, very fast-paced, very rich in characters, very much going into you get true behaviors of the characters and interactions between them, and how the stories are evolving. you get kind of intuitive understanding for backgrounds and certain behaviors, and all her characters are deeply human in their own way. She writes with wit. She writes with using very much of slang when she writes, and I really like the setting in London, because London is our second home, especially northwest London, that I know very well. It's set in this area, so it is I would wish Zadie Smith to get more praise and more talk, that she's more talked about on BookTube, because she's writing really great prose. So I would say I just chosen one of the books. The one that I like the most actually is this one, Northwest. So Zadie Smith. Okay. The monk cares little for the rule of work and prayer. Tell us about an unconventional character. Okay, unconventional character here is this is a novel by a German author, Hans Fallada. In Swedish it says På livstid, lifetime. It's in German the original title is Der Trinker, a drunk. And this is a book about that Hans Fallada wrote during his own time in prison. So he's been imprisoned during he's been in prison. This is written during time in Nazi Germany, and let's see when it's published. It's published 1950, and he's been imprisoned during 40s, and he wrote it in the prison in his notebook that was smuggled out from the prison. And he was in the prison for attempting to kill his wife. And this character here is becoming an alcoholic and gets into the prison for attempt to kill his wife, notably. And it resembles very much of Fallada's own life, and he is a strange guy that you just can't really understand his behavior and why he puts himself in such a misery and destroys his life in that way he does. But that's that's what alcoholism and the mental illness do to people. We do not necessarily understand, can rationally explain, why some people have, these self-destructive behaviors. And so I would say, very much unconventional, in a kind of a regular role, but probably conventional alcoholic homeless, but unconventional, for us normal people, so to say. So Hans Fallada, drunk. Okay. Number 8. The Friar is all about confession. Confess to us. Have you read the Bible, Torah, Quran, or other religious text all the way through? No, I haven't. I have not. And now, during the last 2 years, I have become more and more interested in spiritual readings, thanks to BookTube, basically. And I've been reading quite a lot spiritual texts recently, very much with the Christian theme, actually. And I'm really curious about reading Bible throughout. Of course, I've read, bits and pieces. I know Bible quite well, like, everybody who lives in a Western society, but I never read it, throughout the whole book. So I have found a course on YouTube on Old Testament with a number of lectures that guide one through the Old Testament. So I'm going to attend that sometime during this year when I have time, and I'm gonna start by reading the Old Testament to start with. But no, I haven't read it yet. Number 9, the summoner is a lecherous and a drunk who tries to sound more educated than he is. Tell us about a book that sounded better than it was. And here I know that this is very controversial, but this is the one, To Kill a Mockingbird. This book was, great disappointment to me. Actually, I heard a lot about the book from, many people throughout my childhood and adolescence, and as an adult, I've seen it in movies. Americans are talking all the time. But To Kill a Mockingbird is, everywhere, mentioned by everybody all the time. And I saw it was also voted as a, best book ever by, I don't know, American Teachers Union or whatever. So a couple of years ago, I said, okay, I have to read it. I read it, and I really don't understand the hype, to be honest. Yeah. It sounded very good, but it just, maybe it's just too high expectations. I don't really understand the whole hype about it. It's it's okay, in my opinion, but not more than that. Definitely not, to me. Yeah. Okay. Number 10. The person is poor but rich in thought and deeds. Tell you about the book that gave you more than you expected. Now, here's the one that gave me much more than I expected. Emma by Jane Austen. It is my first Jane Austen read. I read it during Jane Austen July 2 years ago. It was my introduction to Jane Austen, and it blew me away. I heard from my wife for many years that, you should read Jane Austen. It's so great. But I thought, kind of girly literature, I just don't want to read that. I read it, and it is, one of the most fantastic things I ever read. I really love all the Jane Austen work, and Emma is my first Jane Austen that completely blew my mind. I really loved it. So, number 11. The Squire stands for youth, beauty, and coding. What book did you fall in love with when you were a youth? This one. Hamlet by William Shakespeare. I was 14 years old when I read it, and it opened my mind for classics in a completely different way. It actually moved me, from children's classics into kind of a real classic. Sorry, shouldn't say real. From children's classic into let's say a classic, adult classics. And I fell in love with this. I really both loved the book, and also probably, as 14 years old, loved the whole the fact that I'm reading the book, that I'm reading Hamlet by William Shakespeare. So it left kind of a lasting impression on me, and yeah, it's really great piece of work. Number 12. The cleric says little, but his words are wise and morally virtuous. Tell us about a short book that made you a better person. This one. Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. It opened. It is a slim volume. It's like a long essay. I think it was written as an essay in the Atlantic or something like that. Perhaps. I don't know. But this is, story of race and America, and it opened my eyes for the situation that African American people have in the US, and opened my mind for the situation that the people of color have in all Western society, and it opened my mind for suffering of others in a way that was new to me. It's not that I haven't been sympathetic to discrimination and to the historical suffering, but this was something completely new. And he's writing here to his son. It's presented in the form of a letter to his adolescent son, and I have an adolescent son, and it really hit me very hard. His fear for his son, what he's going to grow up in America, and when you are in the same when you have a similar life situation, it's much easier to relate, I guess. So that, you know, opened really a completely new world to me, and I believe made me a better person between the world and me. Okay, number 13. The man of law upholds justice and knows the laws by heart. What is the book you could not imagine rereading? I featured this on my channel before. Is this one, How the Soldier Repairs the Gramophone by Sasha Stanisic. It is, you know, Bosnian German author, and the book is, you know, some kind of, you know, Balkan pastiche kind of I don't know. It was just, you know, it was silly, but in a kind of in a way that is exploiting, you know, kind of a picture of Balkans with, you know, brass orchestras and a picture of Balkan that was introduced by, you know, Emre Kusturica's movies. So it's you know, I just felt it was bad ripoff, and badly written, and I really didn't like this book, and I will not reread it. Or, you know, I don't know, maybe I'm gonna give this author another chance to read something else, because he's very hyped in Germany, but, you know, this was nothing for me. Okay. Number 14. The Municipal provides the food. Recommend the series you think is good from the first book to the last. It's clearly this. I think it's only in Swedish, unfortunately, by Per Anders Fogelström. It's called Mina drömmars stad, the city of my dreams, and it is a story about Stockholm, about Sweden, about the advent of a Swedish welfare state. It is set in Stockholm between 1860 and 1968. The whole series of how many? 5 books of this size, and it follows the family throughout these 100 years, how they, you know, go from a you know, working class misery in 1860s Stockholm into welfare state prosperity in 1960s, and, you know, the whole rise of the social democracy in Sweden, and the you know, trade unions, and the whole, you know, the building up of Swedish society, and, you know, how they made it through the war and everything. You get the huge understanding for, you know, the origins of a welfare state, really, and you know, you understand the Swedish way of thinking about themselves more thoroughly when you read this. I don't know if there is in English, but if there is, I highly recommend it. But, you know, for my Swedish viewers, if there are any, whoever didn't read Fogelström, you know, you have to read it. This is a must read in order to understand the society we live in today. The whole series of 5 books is phenomenal. It's really good. Okay. Number 15. The merchant deals in furs and cloth and is powerful and wealthy. Recommend a book with a powerful message or theme. So, you know, I could have recommended anything about, you know, about the environment, about the, you know, some spiritual books. I could recommend anything about the, you know, minorities, or you know, LGBTQ, or you know, anything at all. But what I would like to do is basically in the same theme as the World War II by Anthony Beevor. You know, we live in a society that is extremely fragile, and you know, and we take this society for granted. We think that, okay, now we have come, you know, to a level in our development. You know, there is no way back. You know, we're just gonna develop further and further. We're gonna get through some, you know, hardships, but, you know, we're just gonna develop further and further. Here's quite a good book. 1177 BC, the year civilization collapsed. It is about collapse of the East Mediterranean civilization, where, you know, the whole extremely well developed society of, you know, Middle Eastern states Egypt, Mycenae, Mycenae on Crete and Greece, all that, just disappeared and crushed over a period, very, very short period of time, it was a total collapse of the Bronze Age society that was really, cosmopolitan, flourishing society. It just disappeared. And, there are lots of things that happened at the same times. Lawlessness, climate catastrophe, pandemics, political shenanigans, all kind of stuff you find here in this book by Eric Klein. And it is scary to see what human nature is and what it can lead to, and and then when you read this and think about where we are, you see that we really can, excuse my French, screw up this seriously. There is no limit how much we can destroy if we continue with things as they are right now. So 1177 BC, the year civilization collapsed. I read somewhere that people who who don't learn about history, they repeat mistakes, and people who learn about history powerlessly watch the idiots when they repeat the mistakes. So it's not going to change the world, but at least it gives you some deeper understanding, I think. Okay. Number 16, the shipman is a wine-stealing rascal. Tell us about the side character who steals the spotlight. Here is a book by Joseph Roth, The Radetzky Marsh. Another, fantastic novel written in 1930s, 1932. It was forbidden in Nazi Germany, and it's really great book about the Trotta family in the Habsburg monarchy, and it's like a family saga. So Trotta family is our main character here, but there is a side character, Franz Joseph, the Emperor, who to me is the most memorable character of this book. It's a fantastic character, and being in a head of the elderly emperor that kind of looks back at his life, looks at the world, how it evolves, and what he thinks about it. In a few passages in this book, it is one of the longest lasting impressions from this book, and from among many books I've read. So and this book is really fantastic, The Radetzky Marsh. Okay, the physician, number 17. Physician knows what ails you and can't cure it. Tell us about the book you consider a comfort read. Now there is not really a book that I consider comfort. It is to me. There is one genre that I never talk about on BookTube that is a comfort read to me when I feel stressed, when I wanna kind of I feel stressed mostly because of my work, and I'm in business, and sometimes it's tough on work, and the genre that I go to and read about that gives me comfort is it's business stories, really, about the companies, about the situation, business situations, and just as an example, one of these books is this one. It's quite recent one, Bad Blood, Secrets and Lies in a Silicon Valley Startup. And this is really crazy story. It's about Elizabeth Holmes, who started this company Theranos, that was supposed to be kind of a device where you could take just a drop of blood, and it could run lots of analysis very fast to figure out if something is wrong with you, instead of taking lots of these, I don't know how do you call them in English, like small bottles that you fill with blood and run these tests. You take a lot of blood, and it takes a lot of time. This device would do it very fast in a shop, in a pharmacy, just on a drop of blood. So she raised the money, she raised billions, lots of it. She but there was no machine at all. She was just, you know, fake it until you make it, and you know, on that path she conned, you know, biggest names in the finance on the US West Coast. And this is a true story. She's on trial right now, I think, and they say that she's gonna get 20 years for you know, this con trick. So, and the book is really, really good. And this was the book, this was the story. This journalist Johnny Carrero he was the one that actually started questioning her, writing about her, and led to her fall. So it's really, really great. And these are kind of the story that I read as a comfort read. There is no literary quality, but it kinds of, you know, I don't know why it's a comfort read. I very often just go to these kinds of books when I you know, feel stressed and when I need something to relax, really. Okay, so next one. Yeah, the Franklin is not a vassal or noble, but a free man. Recommend a book about freedom in any form. Now, a book about freedom, I would say that, you know, the spiritual freedom is this Erasmus of Rotterdam on the free will, and paired with the Luther, the bondage of will. It's basically the 16th century debate between the two theological masterminds about the nature of a free will in Christianity. So this is my recommendation, and I made a video on it in last year, May last year, so you can check it out on my channel if you're interested. Okay. Number 19. The reeve is believable on the outside but lies on the inside. What book was different than the blurb led you to believe? This one, The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde by Junot Diaz. It was different and it was better than I thought. Really, it won Pulitzer Prize, so it was about to be good. It says on the back like this: Oscar is a sweet but disastrously overweight ghetto nerd, a New Jersey romantic who dreams of becoming the Dominican J.R.R. Tolkien, and most of all of finding love. But Oscar may never get what he wants. Blame the Fuku, a curse that has haunted Oscar's family for generations, following them on the epic journey from the Dominican Republic to the United States and back again. I thought this was a story about immigrants, and partially it is, but it is a story about the Dominican Republic. It is, you learn a lot. I knew before I read this book, I knew basically nothing about the terror, the rule of Trujillo, and you know, there are lots of notes that are explaining, you know, what is going on in Dominican Republic. So you know, you learn massively about that. So it was really really surprising. So it gave me something different than I expected. Okay. Number 20. Diploma is good-hearted and faithful. What book do you read over and over again? None. I don't reread books that often, especially not again and again. Number 21. The guildsmen are 5 men who act as unit and stand for brotherhood or sisterhood. Recommend a book with strong ensemble cast of characters. You know, it could be any Victorian book. The one that I would just recommend is Anthony Trollope, The Towers of Barchester series. You know, the whole cast of characters is really strong. They all, you know, they all fill a function there, and you know, and all of them are interesting. Really, there are lots of them, like only Victorian novels. So it could be any book by Dickens as well, but just choose Trollope, just to not say Dickens, so to say. Okay. Number 22. The cook makes the food that feeds you. Tell us about the book that feeds your soul. To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf feeds my soul. Best book I ever read. Fantastic. There's a review on my channel as well. It is, I learned so much about being human. I learned very much about myself. You know, and just enjoyed a fantastic, masterful writing that, you know, like nobody else. Queen Virginia Woolf, Into the Lighthouse. Okay. Number 23. The yeoman serves you. Tell us about the book that served its purpose, that did what you wanted it to do. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. There are lots of books like this. I just chose this one because I saw it in my bookshelf. Steel by Silvia Avalone. It's a Italian author writing about the best friends Anna and Francesca living in a worn down building in Italian coastal town of Piombino, and they are 13 years and they're living in this environment of decay, really, and hopelessness. It's pretty depressing yet realistic read about about a part of Italian society today. Still by Silvia Avalone. Okay, number 24. The Second Nun talks about saint's life in her tale. What book do you praise often? A book that I praise often for whatever reason is this one, A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Darwin. I really like the book. I liked, the whole, setting, how is it written. I like the what you learn about the French Revolution here, about the collaboration between English and French, about London and Paris of that time. It's really, really a great book. Very, very good book. I recommend it. I like it. I talk about it very often. I praise it very often. A Tale of Two Cities. Finally, number 25. The nun's priest is witty and doesn't take himself too seriously. Recommend a book that has funny or witty main character. And this is Jay in Three Men in a Boat. It's my humor favorite. It's a great book. It's a classic in English literature. I guess most of you know it, especially English and American people here. So I don't need to explain what it's about. But it's my favorite comic character. Yep. Number 26. Tag some BookTube pilgrims and. 37 minutes in, I'm so sorry, but this tag has been around for a while, so I don't know who did it really. So whoever didn't do it, please do it. It's a lot of fun. It makes you think, and lots of you get lots of great recommendations. So for all of you who manage it to the end here, probably got as tired as I got. Thank you very much, and until next time, take care. Bye.